Thank you everyone for coming. This is higher than we expected, so thank you so much. So my name is James, and this is Hers. We both are the co-president of the Thai. We are co-president of the Thai Student Associations. This is part of the series that all the speaker talk that we are hosting throughout the year. And please, if you're not following us, you can always see the latest news at Instagram Thai Harvard. So please go and follow us. And in fact, this is not just one event. We only have one event during during lunch at the Harvard Kennedy School, where we have Dr. Santitarn speaking about central bank independence. And next week, we also have another event, and I'll let Pers talk about.
Hi everyone. Firstly, thank you again for coming. This is much more than expected for amount of people showing up. So thank you so much for coming to this wonderful event. Another event we're going to have next week on Wednesday from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Here as well is going to be the Pita talk, where we're going to invite a lot of student representatives from various universities inside of Boston to come talk with Pita on a student panel. So details will be sent out soon, probably by tonight, to various universities. And yeah, if you're interested, or even if you have any questions, you can feel free to come talk to me after the event as well. But yeah.
All right. Before we begin the session, I want to commemorate the legacy of the two most influential development workers in Thailand. The first one being Kim Bhumipol Kim Ramanai, who died on October 13, and the second one is Mom Rashawong Dinadda, or Kun Chaidit, who died on October 18. I want you all to spend a few moments to think about the good deeds those people has done to our country, and how those actions has inspired us to be the change makers that we are today. So let's get right on to diagnosis. พี่ต้นสนครับ Over the past decades, Thailand hasn't broke the fact. Okay, sorry.
Okay, all right. I was in a sentimental mood. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we can start with each of you do like a 1 to 2 minute introduction about yourself.
Starting from that side, yes.
Yep.
Sure, yeah, my name is Kate Parchariyanon. I'm a serial entrepreneur, medical doctor by background, turned venture capitalist. So, my mission is to helping Thailand to increase 1% of GDP. Yeah, so through the work that we do, we can chat more about it, because I think right now our country needs more than 1%.
Hi, สวัสดีค่ะ My name is Saiyai นะคะ I work for Google. I'm based in Thailand. I lead communications for Google for Southeast Asia. But I'm here on the fellowships because my passion besides making money from Google, it's creating inclusive society. So basically, I was the advisor to the Thai government when we were working on legalizing same-sex marriage. Since you're here, I'm not sure if you are aware, but Thailand is the first country in Southeast Asia that legalized same-sex marriage. So since the beginning of this year, if you are LGBTQ and you have partners, you can get married. So it's good news. And because of that, it drives me to want to do more for the countries in terms of the inclusivity. So I'm going to merge the two worlds that I'm in, which is Google and inclusivity. And my project is on the creating AI inclusivity work, which is basically doing more of the AI upskilling for the underserved communities in Thailand.
Okay, and my name is Thonson. I'm Santitarn. So I spent actually most of my life outside Thailand. I worked spent 18 years outside Thailand and just returned to Thailand 2 years ago. And 5 of those 18 years is here at Harvard, actually. So we're doing master and a PhD at Kennedy School in GSAS, PhD in public policy. And then after that, I spent time in Singapore, mostly building career in finance and tech. Last position there was a group chief economist and managing director of this company called C Limited, which owns Shopee and Garena. So after I finished the stint with the private sector, I decided I want to quit all the full-time job, semi-retire, and then return to Thailand and do something which I feel is more meaningful, which is doing more driving policy forward. And that's what I did been doing the past 2 years. So return Thailand, not doing full-time job, but taking on a couple of hats, doing a portfolio of jobs. So one of the hat is the Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, which is similar to the US FOMC here. So we vote on interest rates and exchange rate. We have some fellow from the BOT panel Thailand here as well. And another one is the Committee for the Government Pension Fund, which is a 40 billion US dollar fund which invests globally. Another role is committees that help draft digital platform laws and AI-related kind of laws in Thailand. So various policy goals, but my mission here is Eisenhower Fellowship with Saiyai and KID. My mission is to create essentially we can call Thailand Future Commission that helps think about when the world's changing so much, where the world will go and where does Thailand want to be, who does Thailand want to be in that new world. And I want to ideally have this reform plan where we can really get back to what Thailand can be. And that's essentially the big ambitious goal, but I'm going to start small first.
Yeah, maybe I just want to supplement Thompson on that. I mean, like about the fellowship, right? Because the fellowship is called Eisenhower Fellowship, so they kind of like picking this is a special year because like 3 of us from Thailand meeting with other kind of like 10-11 people from Southeast Asia as a cohort, and then we're going to be spending around kind of like 6 weeks here, like across the US, and then meeting the people that are relevant to our project. And those people might be able to help us achieve what we want to achieve. And yeah, like just to recap my project, I haven't said that yet. So my goal is to how to we be able to turn Thailand and Southeast Asia to become next health innovation hub. Yeah, because that's probably one of the like the industry that be able to start a new S curve for Thailand. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for all your introduction. So we're gonna get right into the panel. So over the past decades, Thailand hasn't really broken the 5% GDP growth. In our 10-year growth average, we sit under 2%. And I think these numbers kind of hint at a deeper than a normal business cycle. I think it might imply a longer run structural issues in Thailand. Pitonson, can you help us diagnose what's really going on with the Thai economy? And in your view, what are the forces behind this economic stagnation?
Yeah, thank you, Lapsho. You're absolutely right. We do have a structural economic issues, and I think it's not nice to talk about it, but it's important to kind of admit where we are. So that could be a starting point. So if I were to compare an economy to an athlete, Thailand is not just a sick athlete, but we are an aging athlete. So our ability to run, to jump is not as good as we could do in the past. And it doesn't matter what medicine we take, that's a structural thing. So it's something which is hard to reverse. And because of that, and you can see the numbers, we used to grow pre-Asian financial crisis was about 6-7% on average. Then after the Asian financial crisis, about 5. Then after the global financial crisis, it became 3. And then after COVID, now it's around 2%. The normal growth rate for Thailand now, the Bank of Thailand estimate, the many economists estimate is around 2.8. So just to give you some comparison, Malaysia is probably 4 to 5, Indonesia about 5, Vietnam 6 to 7. So our normal growth rate is lower than other countries. And it comes from various reasons, but I think 2 or 3 important ones. One of the very unique things about Thailand is our demographics. It's hard to find an emerging market which have such rapid aging population like Thailand. Working age population is already contracting, which means that if you compare an economy is like a factory, that means your workers is shrinking. So the only way to get output to grow is you have to increase your productivity. And that can come through technology, research, innovation, be in the right segment of the market, and various whatnot. But it's very hard because the demographics are constantly working against you. And that's why we are not at 2% plus, whereas other countries can always increase the people because they're still enjoying the demographic dividends. So that's one of the issues. Then when we look at the quality side of the workers in Thailand, the education. I think we all know that's a huge issue there. There's a lot of lack of productivity. There's a lot of skills problem, mismatch, a lot of issues which I think both Kim and Saiyai try to tackle in different ways actually. On the kid side, it's around how to boost innovation, which will help with productivity as well. And Saiyai is trying to bring the bottom up, right, include inclusiveness. All these are relevant and our weaknesses. So when you have number of people don't grow and the productivity per head is also not growing fast enough, you end up with a bit of a stagnation. And that's kind of where we are. And on top of that, in the past few years, of course, the household debt issue, which is peaked at 90% of GDP, now come down slightly to about 87, I think, is another drag on the economy. This means constantly, every income you earn, you have to go and pay down the debt first before you can use it consume. Essentially, the problem.
So those are the problems. Now I kind of want to scope out and look at the opportunities. Kid, you had created and worked with so many businesses, and you are also doing like the venture investing as well. So I think it creates like a unique lens, because on one hand you see where the technological frontier is moving, and on the other hand you see what technology the big businesses want. So looking through this lens, what sector or what technology feel most promising as a growth engine for Thailand? And just as important, how do we actually bring those capabilities, those technology that found outside the country, and integrate them with Thai firms and Thai economy?
Cool, thanks, Joe. I mean, I think what Johnson said is to remind me, and also I think remind all of us, right? So when I was in the high school, I mean, people say, yeah, we are going to be the fifth tiger of Southeast Asia or Asia. Right. And then Singapore overtook us. And then when I went to university, then we got Malaysia. Oh, we competed with Malaysia, but now the GDP per capita, Malaysia has already overtook us as well. Right. Now, I mean, our closest the neighborhood, right, like Vietnam, yes, they still have some gap in terms of GDP per capita, but they with us, right? But I think they're coming closer, right, and closer. Mm-hmm. And if we still growing at the rate that we're growing right now, and then they're 7%, 8% every year, I think by the time that we graduate, or maybe 2030, probably is we're gonna lose all these countries, and that's so sad, right? So that's why I feel that pain. Around 9 years ago, so I tried to see what else I can do, how I can combine my passion in technologies and try to help country in another way. So and the opportunity that I saw 9 years ago is there's so many big corporate conglomerates, also a huge family business in our country. But then when these corporate family business getting bigger, they're gonna be a little bit slower. Yeah, because they sometimes they try to monopolize things, and then sometimes they want to impede innovation, because innovation is on the opposite side, right? With monopolize or those kind of things, right? So yeah, but the way to fix that problem, I think if we be able to bring technology companies startup working with these big corporate, they're gonna be so cool, and then it's going to help those corporates to stay longer, right? Because if you're looking at the number of the years that corporate will close down, is actually using less time, like S&P 500. That in the past probably these companies are 50 years old, whatever, but now the average life cycle of these companies is dropping a lot, right? So and then I've been doing this trying to bring the startup to working with the corporate for now is almost 10 years. Around 7 years ago, I thought this is not enough. Yeah, even though we bring thousands of companies working with the big corporate, 500 of them already, I thought we have made that in Southeast Asia. We're not the one who producing the new technology every day. The new startup, the new idea probably are in the US or Europe, right? How we be able to make ourselves relevant, right? So I also coming back to see those corporate and say, hey, give me the money. I'm going to the US, setting up a VC fund here, and then looking for the technology that like AI, biotech, like robotics, whatever, that be able to improve productivity or create a new business or new services for them to last longer, right? So that's kind of like the idea that I start CX Venture, our VC fund here in the US, and been building that right in the past 7 years. I think we're super proud. Today, if not include the corporate money, we're probably the largest VC fund in the country. But then now coming to the fellowship, right? So I tried to kind of like I went to Stanford kind of like 7 years ago, and that's kind of like the time that I be able to reflect and set up the fund, right? So this is become kind of like 7 year already. That's why I decided to joining the fellowship, to kind of like having the time to reflect myself once again. What's gonna be the next 10 year, what my next 10 year gonna look like? So that, and how I can create more impact, right? Much more than what I'm currently doing, right? And in order to do that, actually Eisenhower is very interesting because they asked us to submit a very long kind of like application. I mean, I thought this is the longest one I ever wrote, probably 20 pages, right? It's super long because you need to be able to think through whatever you want to do. And I try to see what should be the next, to answer the question, right? So what should be the next S curve for the country? Because if you rely, in the past, I think we rely on tourism a lot. 17% of our GDP on tourism, right? But then the tourism itself is not growing. Now everybody know, wow, in the past year, I mean, the Chinese are coming as much, right? And then in big provinces, tourism spot, they also have only 50% kind of like occupancy. So that's tough, right? We were very proud about, we were Detroit of Asia. We're producing a lot of cars, exporting that a lot in the past few years, right? But now, when the EV era come, right, and then all the supply chain from China is also coming, to our country, and our SME who producing tier 2, tier 3 auto parts also in a very hard time. How are we gonna solve that, right? And what should be the industry that be able to kind of like make Thailand great again? Actually, we can chat about that, right? So we want to kind of like make our country like great again. Then I think, okay, maybe if you're looking at like the healthcare, which is very interesting because we've been promoting medical tourism for so long. Our doctors are smart, and they're excluding me, right? So that is not practicing anymore. But then they're so smart. They have like American board certified. We very proud that we are having the first JCI accredited. It's just like ISO standard for healthcare, right? Like Bumrungrad Hospital got that, the first one in Asia, and now we got 62 like hospital that be able to do that. Then and why? If you ask like why we not becoming kind of like the health hub of Asia just yet, I think this is the missing part because we always promoting wellness and longevity. Oh, come to Thailand and then you get medical checkup and then you make your more beauty, inject some vitamin or do some massage. It's good. Right? It's kind of like the building block, and everybody happy to do that in Thailand. But that's not going to bring kind of like 5 million more patients to our country. If we have more, like 5 million more, it means their family going to come, right? The hotel, food, like those industries going to also growing. So that's why I think what's missing is that we don't have innovation in healthcare. Why don't we bring kind of like the new cancer therapy to Thailand? Why don't we bring new medical device or kind of like those technology to help treating patient better? And at the end, our people be able to get access to better care, like as well, right? And then coming to kind of like and what's in it for after we bring this like the technology to Thailand? What's in it for our people apart from access to this new technology, right? I think it's meaning that these technology be able to inspire the local, right? Because as mentioned, our doctors and the healthcare business is super smart. So then they'll be our PhD student, like professor, they'll be able to inspire and then think about something new. Perhaps once we be able to do that, we'll be able to starting to export some of the new health technology back to the US or Europe. And so that's kind of like the idea that I think it should be kind of like one of the growth engine for the countries.
That's perfect. I think another opportunity that we cannot not talk about is AI. Both the tools that people are using every day and the deeper technology behind it. When we think about AI, we see so much potential like improved productivity or access to unlimited knowledge. But at the same time, we also see gaps in Thai ecosystem like data readiness or skill gaps. พี่สายใย how do you see AI reshaping Thailand economic landscape over the medium term? And what are the must-have enablers to capture the upside of AI for Thailand?
Thank you. So okay, AI is such a buzzword. Everyone is like, talking about it. But if you follow the news, like, to be honest, Thailand is, to bring it to the positive part, we're kind of sexy for the investment when it comes to AI, right? Like Google just invested $1 billion US last year actually in Thailand building data center. At the same time, Microsoft also came and other big tech company or even smaller came to Thailand because there's potential. And when you ask about potential, like the research that we actually Google commissioned and released is that it said that by 2030, the AI impact to the economy will come up to about 2.3 trillion Thai baht. That's quite big, right? And we are hoping that if people actually leverage the opportunity of AI, the economy would grow. We would create more work in general. But of course, like your questions, like how do we enable that, right? First of all, we need to have the government that support the growth of AI, right? We need some policy that are not blocking the investment or not blocking the companies or SMB to grow. But then another one is private to public partnership that has to happen, right? I'm not gonna touch into those government private to public because that's not my forte. But the last one that all the research are talking about definitely is skilling. And it's not only Google, I'm not here to represent Google, but I'm here to represent the benefit of the Thai people. And I think that when you look at it, everyone is seeing the opportunity to grow the skill of, like the skill of leveraging AI here. You will see that a lot of not only foreign companies but Thai companies would have classes and try to push people to upskill when it comes to AI. If you look online, Google has like AI essential classes that for free. We have Google certificate that is we partner with Coursera. We have scholarship. Everything is free, but that is more on like for college students. Gemini is also free for college students, and I see that's a bit of a gap. Because when you look around, right, it's not only educated people that need to have AI skills, but it's people who live outside of Bangkok, it's people who live in a second tier city. Because to admit it or not, these gonna be the first group of people who get that job replaced, if anything, right? I don't know what kind of job will be replaced, but we do know now. We don't even know what kind of job they're going to be created because 10 years ago there's no job as such as like social media manager, right? So we don't know what other jobs. But if you have the basic AI skills, that's already adding opportunity for the people of Thailand, and that's why I want to do that. But then research again also suggests that less than 5% of small business or the people outside of Bangkok use AI. Why? Because they're scared. Why are they scared? It's fair enough. There's so many things that they don't know, right? They don't know if they use the right information. They don't know if they use the false victim of scams or not. So that's why AI literacy is important. And that's why like before going to, like maximize the use of AI before having any skill that we should have, I think the minimum basic skill knowledge that we should have is AI literacy. And that's why I want to make sure that people are talking about that and people know the benefits and the things that we need to be cautious, and I want to partner with the government and private or public sectors to create this awareness and like provide the information that needed to know to the people that need to know so they can make an informed choice if they want to get on which platform and have which skills of AI for the future.
Thank you. since we already touched on like how to address the inequality that's created from AI, maybe Saiyai can touch a bit more on what are the trends that corporation or government is trying to address the inequality, and which part do you like and which part do you think that you want to adjust?
You don't like. The part you don't like. It's probably not the part you don't like.
Inequality in terms of what? Sorry.
So like AI can be the double-edged sword, right? It can be a powerful equalizer if you use it well, or it can be like inequality amplifier if you scared
Yeah.
to use it.
Yeah.
So like there's the inequality between urban population and the rural population, or the inequality between the large firms with capabilities and the small firm SMEs.
Yeah.
So what do you think are the trends that people addressing this topic, and what do you like about it? What do you don't like about it?
I think the AI is moving fast, right? I'm in the center of it. I'm doing comms. I'm trying to promote AI, but still, like, to admit with you all here, like, I don't even know what's happening when I'm like not at the office for the past 2 weeks. Like, I don't know what new features are coming out. So that's what scares people. Like, they are afraid to try because it's intimidating. And I think, but if you don't start, then the gap of not knowing is even bigger. Like the opportunity loss is even bigger. But then it's also a bit sad to learn that women is also be the first group of people that are just not willing to try by nature. I don't know why, but the research said so. So that, you know, like they like might not want to try, but if they don't use it, then the data that we have, it's gonna be biased eventually because it's being asked by all men, right? So those are like the things that I'm not saying that we need to use more, but you know, like I'm trying to create the awareness of like trying out and using it. But like I said, it's also a bit scary and intimidating. So that's why I want to go back to the AI literacy part, that it's also very fundamental to let them know that there are free products out there, free features out there that can help them. It doesn't have to be so complicated. You can just be like, take a picture, if you know, you talk to like random, you know, like people in the, not Bangkok, like say that, like you can take a photo of like food in your refrigerator and be like, hey, what can I make today, right? And those are simple. And Southeast Asian languages are actually available in most of the platform, whether it's like, you know, Thai, Chinese, or any other languages, which is, I think it's a benefit because to show that people actually invest in researching and want to do more in our languages. Yeah.
Got it. I would say the same, that I share the fear as well of trying out new AI tools, and I'm sure a lot of people share that fear as well. Now I want us to go out and look more into the macro side of things. Since 1980s, Thailand export-oriented industrialization, I'll call it EOI, export-oriented industrialization, create real capabilities for the country. One example is auto industry, right? But now the terrain has really shifted, supply chain becoming more regional, digital economy is growing even faster than real economy. So do you think the EOI strategy is still relevant for Thailand when the world is becoming more digital, more service heavy? And if it's still relevant, what does the EOI 2.0 would look like? What are some risks that we should watch out for?
Oh, wow. Yeah, big question. Hard question. I think first of all, I think it's important to say that Thailand has done quite well in the past in terms of being an open economy, right, linked to the world. And it's still important to recognize that Thailand still needs to be connected to the global markets. And there's not much option. I think there's a lot of debate now sometimes when you talk is when you see tariffs going up, you see trade wars, can we just look to grow using domestic economy? And that's a lot of people said, like, let's focus on the domestic economy because we rely on exports so much. The fact is, we cannot do that. And the reason we cannot do that is what I explained earlier. Our domestic economy don't grow very much because we have a demographic decline. At first, I focus a lot on the worker side, but it's also true on consumer side. That means that your number of consumers don't grow very much. So that's number one. And number two, those consumers, they have debts. So that's also creating the consumption power. So growing purely from domestic economies is very tough. And if you form a startup, you do a business, and you think only about the local market, domestic markets, which a lot of us tend to do, that will cap ability to grow. And that's one of the big problems, actually. So Thailand needs to be connected to the global markets or regional markets. I think that's first thing to state. So not like Indonesia, not like India. So we have to be connected to the global market. But the question is how do we connect to the global market? Do we connect to the global market using the old model, where we hope that there's some FDI coming in and then build some export capabilities and we export to the world? We can partly do that, but I don't think it's sufficient anymore. I think you need to think a much more varied strategy and have to be smart and nimble about this. One thing that we see right now, for example, in export is that sometimes, in fact, Thailand has been pretty good at attracting FDI in the past few years, and Southeast Asia as a whole, actually. And this is going to be a subject that I'm going to talk at the CID on Friday as well, which actually ASEAN as a whole has somewhat benefited from the trade tensions between the US and China. A lot of the so-called China plus one, mean a lot of factories shift out from China and come to Southeast Asia. Thailand got the PCB printed circuit boards from Taiwan, got data centers, got EVs as well as electronics coming to Thailand. The problem is that some of these facilities, when they export, they still import a lot from China. So you see export from Thailand to the US increase hand in hand with import from China. So in some ways, it's China exporting through Thailand. So the value added, the job creation is much less in the past. And in the space of EV, this is very clear as well. In the past, at least we had auto producers at home, we have jobs, we have technology transfer. Right now, we don't have a lot of those happening in EVs. It can change, but currently not much. So the value added is smaller. At the same time, because we export a lot to the US, we run a trade surplus with the US. So Thailand is put on the radar for tariffs and all these things. It's even though we don't actually get much benefit from it because we import a lot of stuff, the value is low. So export-oriented strategies still work, yes, but you have to focus on quality rather than quantity. Don't just celebrate when you get huge amount of FDI, trillions of baht. Don't just celebrate when you have a good export number, but also ask what's the quality, how much value add is being done in Thailand, how much benefits spill over to small and medium scale enterprises, how many jobs are created, and how much tech transfer is happening on the ground. I think those are the kind of relevant questions. So you have to think about the quality of export. Secondly, in this work, another positive side of globalization is that when we talk globalization, we tend to focus mainly on trade of goods. But actually, because of technology, trading or exporting of services is actually easier to do. Some of which we already know well, which is tourism. Tourism, Thailand has been playing a number game. Again, a number game can get back to 40 million people pre-COVID, right? Right now it's about, this year, probably about 33, 34. Actually, we don't really need to do that. A better strategy would be get higher spending per head. And that's part of what Kit has touched on as well, which is medical-related tourism, wellness tourism, sports tourism, and there's so many other products. When you focus so much on the quantity side, 80 to 90% of the tourism that came to Thailand only go to 5 provinces. That's it, just 5. And there's so many other provinces, so many great products that we can do, but we haven't really quite developed them yet. There's so many provinces we can go, and then once you get there, there's a lot of infrastructure you need to build around, like whether it's Khon Kaen, Chiang Mai, which will allow people to go, and this will spread out the distribution of income. It will make growth more healthy, and also develop the area outside Bangkok that we talked about earlier. So there are these things that you have to think about. Yes, we still outward orientation, we still think about export of goods, we still think about export of services, but we have to do it not a quantity game, but about quality game, and ask about how inclusive are these growth engines. So I would start with that, and maybe the third one actually, sorry, just last one on digital, because you mentioned. Again, I think, okay, people don't like the word soft power in Thailand, okay? And well, here at Harvard, That's right, because we know soft power also, used differently here, but in Thailand it had different meaning. But it is true that, in respect to Jonah and that, the creative economy, let's say, Thailand do have a strength in that. And whether it's creating movies, games, I was part of game company before. Thailand has good talents, esports. A lot of these products or services or online products can be exported to the world, and it can have a strong linkages to Thai products. So because it helps promote Thai products, so people know about Thailand. It is what Thailand like to call soft power, but it's kind of like good marketing for Thai products and Thai culture as well. So these are the new things that we can do, and it's not too difficult to do. And maybe last one that I would like to add that I think is opportunity for Thailand is we can play as a talent hub, and we need this too. A talent hub, why can we do that? Is because right now we have a shift in talents, the fight for talents. But a lot of the talents do want to come to Thailand and work in Thailand. Many of them in the past has just goes mainly to Singapore, but Singapore now is so saturated. The property price has gone up multiple times since COVID. So now a lot of the executives, tech talents, they actually want to spend time in Thailand, maybe like almost 6 months, in order to just live and have a good quality time in Thailand and go back and forth between Thailand and Singapore. So if we can attract these talents to be in Thailand, set up their business in Thailand, teach in Thailand, transfer the knowledge, this could be very important drivers for Thailand as well. So that's another dimension of connectivity that we can do. So we remain connect, but in new ways.
Got it. So four levers: quality of DI, higher spending per head, digital economy like soft power, and then talent hubs. Perfect. Let's pivot to the green economy. Like around the world, we see that the high cost of living and high energy prices have really slowed climate policy down. In EU side, we see the focus shifted from Green Deal to clean industry, which focus more on production and exports. In the US side, we have seen slow clean energy investment alongside with rising fossil fuel exports. So to taken together, it seems like the two the economic growth and clean environment are like a trade-off. But at Rise, you treat growth and decarbonization as joint goals, not competing ones. So why do you believe the two can move together, and what are the enabling conditions for the two to kind of move together?
Right, so that's kind of like coming back to the mission that I said earlier. So we want to increase 1% of GDP while reducing 1% of global carbon emission. And look on the surface, it's kind of like two goals, but actually it can be just one. Because I think if we think hard enough, we'd be able to kind of achieve that. For example, right? So why are we still using this kind of like the plastic bottle? Not the aluminum bottle or something like that, right? Because the plastic is cheaper, right? But if you be able to find a technology that be able to make like this aluminum bottle cheaper than a plastic, then everybody is gonna switch to that. So technology is the key, right? To do that. And also I said if you think hard enough, we be able to kind of make these two goals marry. For example, I mean I'm the marathon runner. I just did Boston Marathon earlier this year, right? So and every time when I run, I love to look at the new kind of like shoe shop, right? Last time when I went to Tokyo, in Shinjuku, so there's the famous brand that everybody may use it called On. It's quite popular right now, right? I went to On store, and then in that On store, there's the signage said zero carbon shoes, running shoes. Oh wow, I need to get one, right? Because it's kind of like it's gonna look support my mission. So I went in and then I said, okay, bring me the white one, US 10, right? I tried it on, I tried to run. Oh wow, it's perfectly fit. Okay, give me one. They said, no, they don't sell it. What? I kind of like waiting and trying for so long, right? And how to get it? Oh, easy, kid. You just go to our website, right? And then add your credit card, and then they'll send you the new pair of shoes. But then they're gonna deduct my money like subscription every month. Then after 6 months, at month 6, they're gonna send like the bag to put my old shoes on like back, and then send me the new one. So at that point, I'm kind of like, wow, this is a great business model, because how often you guys buy new pairs of shoes, running shoes? Probably 2 years. For me, like maybe 800 kilometers after running, right? So, but if you're looking at this business model, right? So you can sell it kind of like 2 pairs per year, because every 6 months they send you the new pair, and right. So this is how like the world is getting in a better place. You'll be able to achieve more revenue, right, while saving the world, because it's 100% recycled, right? So your old shoes get recycled. So this is, I just thought, oh wow, this is how you marry kind of like the growth of the company still, and then also saving the world at the same time, right? So and why this is important for Thailand? I think because we invest in kind of like climate tech as well, right? So last week there's a big event in Thailand called Bangkok Climate Action Week. So that's hosted by Bangkok Metropolitan Authority for the very first time. And this is one good news, right? Because Thailand just pushed our national the goal for net zero, 15 years, faster than what the previous government, global government promised to the UN, right? So that's kind of like very good news. That's our country also moving forward, right? So that I brought in kind of like one of our portfolio companies they call the company called Brainsworth. What they do, right? So everybody might have heard about the carbon capture technology. So carbon's in the air, and then once you capture it, you can get some carbon credit, and then you can sell it, and then the world has low carbon in the air, right? So these companies also very interesting, because they discover that in the ocean there are actually 150 times more carbon dioxide than in the air, right? And then they're using the electrolyzer technology to extract kind of like the carbon dioxide from the water, and then the byproduct is not only carbon dioxide but also green hydrogen, which is the primer to develop the green field, right? So and then our country, if you're looking at kind of the big industry, oil and gas is one of them, right? Fortune 500 companies. But now with the chemical cycle in the world, is not the pricing is not that good. So then they're making some loss. But if they be able to produce using e-fuel, right, and also SAF, like sustainable aviation fuel, right? So then this can be the new growth for them, and this also helping the country. So that's kind of like something that I really look at Thailand. We turn our manufacturing hub to more value added through technology.
Thank you. It's a very hopeful response to hear. Now, usually people ask for career advice or professional development, but I want to tweak it a little bit and ask our panelists about personal development. Maybe start with Kit. I heard like you mentioned that you often run. Like I heard you often wake up like 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. in the morning to run. No matter if you just landed from like BKKSF flight or had a very late night. So, and you always say that you're a good mind, healthy mind come with healthy body. Can you share a little bit about this conviction and what experience changed your view, and once adopted, how does it change your life?
Can I just say that it's absolutely true, and he invited me to run this morning, and I bailed on it.
Oh, you did? Okay, because I saw the text last night and
not 4 a.m. every day for sure, right? After coffee until midnight, you cannot wake up at 4. But first, you need to get the good sleep, right? I mean, like enough sleep. Yeah, enough sleep means enough for everybody is different. For me, probably 6 hours I was trained as a doctor. So one good things about being doctor is that if you have time to sleep, you'll be able to sleep right away. Because otherwise you're not gonna have time to sleep at all. So it's like you don't know when the patient will come during the night. Yeah, so that's I can shut down right away. So that's one good benefit of trained doctor. But then another thing is that I think if you want to change the world, we cannot die. So you need to find a way that you not die before you can change the world. Yeah, so then to keep fit, yeah, and exercise. And another thing is that because I'm foodie, so tonight, yeah, we going out together, right? So yeah, bring me, all of us, to have some good food, right? And then so that and I can have as much as I want, and tomorrow just run to burn it out, right? So that's kind of the excuse. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, great. Very fun. I think moving on to Saiyai, many of us at Harvard kind of wrestle with the imposter syndrome. If we look around, we see brilliant people everywhere, right? And I can't help but wonder sometimes, do I really belong here? And it kind of chips away at our confidence and our well-being. And Saiyai, you call yourself whatเป็นเป็ด, which like a duck, which in Thai means like jack of all trades. And you work at Google alongside like world-class specialists, technicians. Have you ever felt the imposter syndrome, and how do you keep your confidence and move through it?
I feel imposter syndrome every day. Even now, being with you all who are like brilliant and amazing the way you are. And I think like, I was just joking with the PP as well that basically if I were your age, I wouldn't get into this school. So yeah, that's my imposter syndrome. But that doesn't stop me for like doing things that I actually believe in, right? So when you mentioned Google, of course there are like so many brilliant people as well, or like in the work that you do, you meet people that you'll be like, oh my God, they're so smart. But then I've gone through that. I think it comes with age as well, but I've gone through that insecurities, but because you question if you belong there could be a drive for you as well. I have gone through periods where I need to push myself to prove that I belong at certain places, right? For example, at Google, of course, there are like so many engineers. You just have to find the spot or your strength. Yeah, your strength is the word that, like the engineers, they produce amazing product. They're the one that stock would go up. But they don't know how to communicate to people, and that's why I still have my job. And I would, tell people that.
This is recorded, by the way.
But like, how like Gemini works, how the complicated AI work, and how to change perception from people being, scared of certain things, but the opportunity is out there. So that's kind of my job, right? So that's why I get over, bit by bit of creating the confidence in me, right? But I find myself to be most confident when I do things that I'm passionate about and I believe in. And that's why I do this inclusivity. Because when I first raised my hand to help the Thai government in terms of LGBTQ passing the same-sex marriage, I also questioned myself, what was I doing there in the parliament? I'm not a law, I don't know any laws. I'm not a policymaker. I didn't have the degree in laws, but I know that I have the passion. But of course, the passion is not enough. But I also have the knowledge of what do foreign company do? What is the most that my company do for the LGBT communities? And most importantly, how do people in communities feel? And that's why I grew my confidence from there. And similar to the fellowships that I'm in, I'm together with a bunch of PhD. And they all have the degrees that I don't have, but I also know that the things that I do are different, right? So that's kind of I also talk to myself almost every day that that I could make change, but that's also push myself to do more, because I'm not confident. That's why I have to read more. That's why I have to do more homework than other people. I'm not the smartest person, but I know that I work quite hard, to just create that confident if I did. So
Thank you.
No, I just saw supplement and then adding, confirming the Saiyai point as well, right? So I last 2 weeks ago I went to pee at Google Office, right? And then when I just stand up and then look at there's two article. On one hand is how to write code better. Oh my God, this is so engineering covered bathroom, right? And then on the other side there's how to communicate better. So that's why, yeah, we need to have this role. Yeah.
Thank you.
I would like to add to this as well because I feel passionate about this too because I shift career many times in life and every time you shift your career you become the dumbest person in the room again. But I feel that that's when something is right. It means you are out of your comfort zone and you start to have this imposter syndrome. It means that you're not just staying in a comfort zone, something you know, and then just becoming the smartest person in the room. It keeps you humble. It keeps that humility, which I think is very helpful. Another thing I kind of learned, because I also feel imposter syndrome a lot, is that at some point in my life, you stop asking the question whether I'm good enough or whether I belong here, but you ask the question, am I useful? Can I add value here? And the shift of that shift changed almost everything because it's not just about yourself, but that I should be here. If you're not contributing to your community, to your society, to your organization, it's easy. You just do more or just find something you can do and add values. And you don't have to be the smartest or the brightest or the best in the room to do that. There's always circumstance and timing for everything, and you can always add value. And once you have that mentality, the imposter syndrome becomes less of an issue. And you still strive to get better, but you get better to do something else, not just to say because I have to be, so I belong here.
Be yummy duck.
All right, thank you for your answer. This will be the last question before we open the floor up for questions from the audience. So if you have any question, prepare it. When people look at your career, it's really easy to see the highlights and the accomplishment, and often people would miss out on the hard parts. Can you tell us about the moments where things didn't go as planned, or the hard part that I'm talking about, and how it shaped you and how you view the world?
Yeah, sure. There's a lot of that, and I think that in general, it's always very difficult, or I would say it's a cautionary tale. When you read someone's success story, you always see the bright side, the good things that happen, and you also see the history in their eyes, how they interpret their life, which is sometimes not always correct, not always reality, right? So when I was writing my latest book, I got to kind of time to reflect a lot, and I think that there are many failures, and a lot of times where I just got lost. But maybe one of the most important one was the first one, and since we're here at Harvard, was not getting to Harvard actually. So a little bit of time back in time is that my father went to school here. I was born in Boston, and I grew up here until I was 4, and then returned to Thailand. So it's always a bit of a dream that I want to be at Harvard. My father did a PhD then, so I want to get a doctorate here as well. I want to have a picture of him in a Harvard yard, with me in a gown, because last time it was me wearing raincoat and he's in a gown. So I thought it'd be nice to kind of switch role. But I applied to Harvard PhD a few times, and Dr. J may know this or may know this, I can't remember, but it's a few attempts. It's pretty hard, and I'm not as good at smart as you guys, so I couldn't get it. It's so hard to get into the HKS Public Policy PhD. And there was this, and then I got into the master program in PhD, your program, which is fantastic. And I thought, this is enough. And then I said, well, but since I did kind of okay in a PhD program. So I thought, okay, there's a chance I can apply for PhD. Right? So okay, might as well do it again. And I knew that then I got a chance to work as a research assistant of Professor Joe Stiglitz, who's a Nobel Prize. And I know that if I can do well in that job, then if you write me a recommendation, there would be a good chance to get in. I had one summer to work with him. The problem is he's so busy, he travels around the world, meeting leaders around the world. So he assigned me one task, And then I didn't get to ask him anything again. I finished the thing he assigned me in like about a weekish. And I had nothing to do in New York, just, going hang around with friends and stuff. And people said, oh, it's okay, he's like this, you have done what he asked, that's it. But then I thought, if I look back one day and ask myself, have I done everything in my power that I can think of to get in and, to get on the good side of professor or not? Probably not. So I go and look up his interviews, read his paper, and then I decided I'm gonna put together another project, which I put in a blue folder. I just keep putting the work, and this is not what he asked. It's just what I think he might want, which may be completely wrong. And then, just a fast forward story. 2 days before the end of the work, he called me up, said let's meet up. I met him in a cafe in Manhattan, and then I presented him the work that I have done for him, and he said, it didn't pan out as he wanted. So that was it, and he said, good luck with your application. So that was, wow, this is the end. This is it. I won't get any recommendation. My dream is gone. And then he said, well, do you have anything else? I said, yes, I do. And they bring out the blue folder and said, I have done something on this. Can you see? And then he sit back down and he said, wow, did you do this yourself? And he said, yeah. And then he just said, then the conversation became another 2 hours and a half. And then next day he said, I'm flying to Manchester for a conference. Can you come with me? Of course, I said yes. I went there. And that's when, he wrote me a recommendation. I got into Harvard, a PhD program here, with scholarship and all that. And but the biggest reward wasn't, it was a really nice moment when my graduation, my father came. And I didn't know, but he also brought his gown from 20 years ago. And so we have both wearing gown at Harvard Yard, which is one of the best memory. But still, one of the bigger things I got from that is this kind of my life principle, which is luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Is sometimes you try so hard in something, you don't know whether it's going to succeed. But if you give up, then when opportunity comes and you don't have the preparation there, you won't be prepared to capture the opportunity. And a lot of times it's like that in individual, organization, and country too. You just have to be prepared. So if and when the chance happens, are you ready to grab it or not? And I think that's something that I always ask myself. I use it throughout my life. And it's also related to my project in Eisenhower as well, this future commission, which is to say like, okay, maybe things are quite hard for Thailand right now, but if and when we do have good leaders, even when good leaders and what about about will we have a good? Do we have a plan ready that they know they can just take and implement and change Thailand? So that's the kind of thinking as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much, three panelists, for joining us today. I want to extend the thanks to Jay for all the advices you give us, and definitely huge thanks to